Self-awareness is a concept that is thrown around loosely. And usually when you ask someone if they're self-aware, most of us would say we are. Nevertheless, when you dive deep down into the mechanism of self-awareness, there's a lot of key components that is missing when most people believe that they're self-aware. You guys hear me out. When you're self-aware, you are paying attention from your prefrontal cortex. I'm not going to get too scientific. Let me give a better example. You ever been sitting in a room, the room is quiet, maybe have some light music playing in the background, and then all of a sudden you say to yourself, why am I thinking about this? Why did I just have that thought? A thought just arise and then it take over your consciousness. And now you ask yourself, why am I thinking this? And then it came with an emotional feeling of something that happened many, many years ago. See, when you are in those state and you say, why am I thinking about this and I am feeling this, you are separating yourself from the thoughts and you separate yourself from the feeling. And I can go as far to say you can separate yourself from a behavior. Because why am I doing this? Why did I do this? So you separate yourself from the thoughts. You separate yourself from the behavior. You separate yourself from the experience. And that separation, where you say the I, and not in a mythical sense, but that I is the core concept of who you are. That's where metacognition comes in, so you can rewire your brain. This is where you start thinking about your thinking, and if you realize that how your thinking is unhealthy, or your behavior is unhealthy, or your emotional body is causing chaos inside of your life, that's where you change it. And that's how you spot it. So when I'm teaching people how to become emotionally aware, I use those principles because most people are not thinking about their thinking. And they're not aware that once they separate themselves from the thought, the emotions, and the behavior, and asking themselves, why am I thinking about that? You're no longer connected to the thought or the behavior or the emotions. So in order for you to be self-aware, it's more than knowing your personality. Self-awareness, it's a very complex thing. So it's not like, oh, well, I know I like, ice cream. And I know I like soca music, and I know I like neuroscience. That's an aspect of the things that I enjoy that brings me joy. But it not necessarily means that I am aware of myself and I'm not self-aware. So self-awareness is thrown around very loosely, right? But there's so many different components to it, especially once we begin to separate ourselves from the thoughts and we are thinking about our thinking, because that's what you're doing at that point. Why am I thinking about this? So you are thinking about your thinking, and that is a key component and the start of becoming self-aware, and not being aware of how you dress or how you look. Just a little tip. I just figured let me talk a little bit.